Oh, but that's the irony. Broken people are not fragile. Clinton Sammy Jr. The Tigress. Fucking is so basic, isn't it? It's like shitting, Amari said. Her mesmerizing eyes, two orbiting Jupiters, hypnotizing swirls of pistachio and mocha. I wanted to be Amari. I wanted to be a woman who made cutthroat statements like, "Men are condoms, just use and throw," when she talked about a boy she had had the night before, but was dead to her in the morning. But I couldn't. I didn't have her jazzy, boozy, smoky personality. I took relationships seriously. I criticized men when they behaved badly, which made them avoid me. I believed in meaningful sex, in the sense you should only have it with someone you have feelings for, which made men avoid me, because feelings are complicated, sticky things only fussy women had. But I watched and listened, fascinated by this real-life Sex in the City Samantha Jones. How men burned in her flames, dropped stiff at her feet, wings fried at the edges, spindly legs twitching. How did Amari become who she is? Who taught her these skills? Or were we all born with a set of skills to help us survive in this world? Her small but pouty full lips shimmered in fuchsia gloss, like an appetizing glazed donut as she turned them into an O around her cigarette. Amari defied every beauty standard the world hammered into my brain since childhood. She wasn't white, slim, or tall. She didn't have a small nose, sharp cheekbones, or a prominent clavicle bone. And yet she stunned when she wore her hip-hugging earth-colored skirts and skin-tight halter tops, in which her ample brown breasts looked so tender and warm I imagined a soft white bunny dozing on them, thinking they're its mother. Her thick, long, black wavy hair danced around her, besotting, bewitching, beguiling. The letter B, with its generous, feminine, supple, soft roundness, described her beautifully. If I were to paint Amari's spirit, it would be a lunging Bengal tiger, baring its fangs. But underneath that jungle, the fiery oranges, the sleekness of the cobra, and the indecent greens bursting with vigor, there was darkness too. When she slipped into her depression, Amari dove into a swamp so fathomless no one could reach her. A door flung in her, letting in ghosts from the past. The loss of her father at 15 she never recovered from, a physically abusive ex-husband, abandonment issues with a mother who devoted her life to her disabled son, the men she tried to substitute her father with. Apparently, rock bottom has a basement, Amari used to say, or the world is a field of thistle. Everything hurts. After many days of her not returning my calls or texts, I drove to her place. I expected her to ignore the bell, so I did the silliest thing I could think of. I bent to the mail slot, opened it with a thumb and forefinger, then cried, "Cockle-doodle-doo!" She came, almost unrecognizable, with her flame put out, her long lash lids lowered to hide the 2 dead planets beneath them. "I came to fix your door," I said, "and I brought new light bulbs." The last time I visited her, the door that divided the kitchen from the living room was hanging on one hinge, and almost all of her lights were out. "Why don't you fix it?" I asked, in my annoying efficiency. "Oh, I don't know how, and I don't have any tools," she said, overwhelmed. "Besides, I like candlelight." I fixed the door, replaced all the burned lights, and washed a stack of dishes in the sink that smelled of rotten fish. We sat in her now adequately lit living room, amongst sari-colored cushions, starry with sequins and elaborate patterns. Fatima, how do you know how to fix unhinged doors and replace lights? Who taught you? Her voice lacerated with pain. I shrugged. No one did. I taught myself.